Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. Oh, do we got an exciting show for you today?
Oh, we do. Listen, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how the Giants went ahead and called up the guys over at Talking Giants, upset about the fact that they dare suggest perhaps Joe Schoen is not doing a good job and should be fired at the end of the year. Well, guess what, guys? We're taking it a step further. We're giving you guys options today on who to get as a GM if we fire Joe Schoen. We're doing a whole episode on it. We're going for it. We're going streaking through the gymnasium.
Yeah, let's go. Everyone's doing it. Or are we the only ones doing it?
With that, we're also going to go ahead and go over with you guys all our picks for this week here on our final regular season week here. It just feels odd the season's already over. I cannot believe this. I really can't.
I feel like
it's like week 3. Like, it feels like it, but time flies when you're having fun, so maybe it flies even faster when you're not having fun because my team can't win anything but a meaningless game.
I was going to say, well, we went 2 other ones.
Yeah. So before we begin, though, guys, I do want to give a special shout out to everybody who's recently signed up with us, guys. We've literally got a huge influx of new subscribers lately, and it's much appreciated. Like, no lie, we say it, and I know it's kind of cliche to say it, but we mean it point blank. Without you guys watching, listening, it's not a show. It's just me and Rob getting drunk and talking football, which, listen, we love doing that anyway.
We're really good at it.
Yeah, we're very good at that. There's certain things we do good in life. Drinking and talking football is one of them.
Yeah.
So, 2 of them even.
And being goofballs.
Exactly. So it makes sense. But we're literally 23 subscribers now, guys, away from hitting our 1,000 subscribers, which is our big goal because that's when YouTube decides to say, here's some money. Yay, money. So, if you've enjoyed the show and you want to go ahead and help us out, that is the easiest way to do that, is hit that little button there. I got my ticker up so I can even see when you guys do it to say thank you while you're on the show. And, also, listen, that way you get notifications if you hit that bell along with it too. So let's get into all of the options we're going to give you guys for GMs. So first off, I got to say this before we get into potential candidates for GM. We don't take this lightly when we put this kind of show. Like, we are talking, let's be honest, we are talking about a human being who's going to lose his job, his livelihood, and his way to support his family.
Yes.
Like, we may joke around about that, but we got to respect the fact that that's what we're really talking about here. Granted, the man makes enough money in 1 year, he should support his family for multiple years. But still, we want to take that with a grain of respect here. But let's be honest, we don't think he's done a good job. The Hard Knocks thing's really coming back to bite him in the you-know-what. Besides this year, his first 2 drafts were absolutely horrendous. Let's be honest, absolutely horrendous. No other way around it. Even with such a great draft class this year, you kind of go, he's still not averaging very well.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, Meatloaf said. 1 out of 3, not very good.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you hit the hammer on the head,
yeah.
And the one draft, and let's be honest, he did a really good draft this last time.
Really good draft.
But the writing's on the wall because you have 2 other ones that were pretty damn bad. So let's get into some guys here who could potentially replace Joe Schoen here. And if you're on board with this idea, guys, we also did a program about a couple weeks ago, I guess, on candidates to replace Brian Dable as well. So Joe Schoen's not the only one that gets a special episode about replacing him. So if you want to go back into the Wayback Machine there and take a look at that, we also do break them down by individuals as well. So that way, if you guys have a particular candidate you want to hear about or learn about, that's there as well. So, all right, first up, we got a guy who is a very, very interesting candidate here because he's a former Giants player. And no, it's not Michael Strahan. I keep seeing that rumor. Michael Strahan's not leaving Good Morning America, whatever. Oh, yeah.
Giants. We're talking about Ray Agnew, the Lions assistant GM. So he was, of course, played college football over in North Carolina University, being from the Winston-Salem, North Carolina area himself. ACC Rookie of the Year back in 1986, guys. I know a lot of y'all might have been born at that point. I was 4 years old myself, just getting out of preschool. Still, world hadn't smacked me down yet. Two-time first team All-ACC in 88 and 89, third team All-American in 89, and then became the 10th overall pick to the New England Patriots in 1990. Played for them from 1994, then played for our Giants 95, 96, and 97. As not exactly the best years for Giants.
No. Bad years.
Ended his career with the last 3 years with the Rams, where he won a Super Bowl. He was part of the Pro Football Writers Association's All-Rookie team in 1990. 451 career tackles in 157 games and 98 starts overall. So he had scouting positions for the Rams, including part of the time being the assistant director of player personnel from 2003 to 2016. So that's a long time with that organization, guys. And again, that's the one he ended his career with. So I like the fact that it shows you, a little bit about who he is as a person. When he played there for 3 years, and they're like, we want to keep you in-house. We want to keep you here. We think you have a good football mind. We think you're a good person to get along with. We think you bring something to the table here. That's a good sign when you see that. I really do like that. He became their director of player personnel in 17, was there through 20 with that. And then in 21, went to the Lions, become their assistant GM, where he has stayed ever since. Pros and cons wise here for him. First, pros. Comes from a team that has seen success since his arrival. Like, we're talking about rebuilding, guys. Would you say the Lions are a successful rebuild? The first,
Yeah.
I mean, potentially number one seed in the NFC, depending on how Sunday night works out.
NFC championship game last year.
Yeah, like I would call that Hell's yeah. That's a successful, rebuild at that point there, having that back-to-back years there. That's what we're looking for. He's also a pretty fast climber. I feel like up the ranks as well. Going right from.
I thought you said, how do you know what he does on the rope?
I don't know. Played football. He's got some athleticism. As far as the cons wise, never been a GM, and he's got a little bit of limited experience with some of the higher titles you get in the front office there, which you'll see later on. We go over other guys here. He's definitely lacking in some of those higher end experience jobs. But listen, just because you had one of those jobs for a while doesn't mean you're good as a GM, and just because you're moving up quick shouldn't be held against you either, because that means they think you're good, so they keep moving you up.
Yeah, you don't know. There's different types of like management out there, and sometimes you meet that manager who really doesn't do his own job. He has his assistant manager do his job for him.
Yeah,
and
that's what I do
from the get-go. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who do that. Like,
yeah, well, I know it. I unfortunately deal with a lot of those, but yeah, like I said, I just. It's difficult to go ahead and assess sometimes GM candidates because we don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't know. For all we know, every single right move the Lions have made, Ray Agnew is sitting there saying, "Nope, let's not do that." Like, we don't know.
Yeah, that's what.
This is why you have to have those conversations with him. This is why you have to talk to people who are within the Lions organization and to find out these things, because the Lions aren't going to hold him back. I know it kind of sounds selfish to go like, oh, just hold him back and keep him. That doesn't really happen in the NFL because that gets out. It's a small knit circle. There's only 32 teams, only 32 GM spots. You don't hold someone back. That will come back to bite you, the you-know-what forever.
100%. And listen, there's a reason he's probably as good as he is. Besides, talent, like he's probably has good mentorship.
Yeah.
And then if you leave legacy like that, you probably were a mentor to the guys that are replacing you.
Yeah. No. And Brad Holmes, who is the the GM at that point for the Lions, he was the director of college scouting for the Rams, and he brought this man along with him. So that says, again, a lot of what he thought about him.
Yes.
So, I'll take it. Like I said, that to me is a solid move, and it shows, like I said, that he's a guy that people have enjoyed working with. That's a very big key on this, because let's be honest, guys. You look at what happened again.
it's Hard Knocks. I know it's reality TV. Like, I don't want to look too much into that part of it to a certain degree, but this is the inside look we got into the Giants that the Giants allowed us to get, by the way. It's on them. It's their fault, not ours.
Yeah.
You know, the look we got was basically people saying, hey, maybe we think we could trade Saquon, and him going, oh, no one's going to trade for him. No one's going to give him money. You know, it's going to be, it's the inside look was John Mara saying, I'm going to have trouble sleeping if he goes to the Eagles. He's like, he's not going to go there. Like,
yeah.
The inside look was not very good for him. Not very good at all.
Not a good look.
So, you know, you got to question when you see stuff like that. If he is a guy that people actually do enjoy working with. I don't know that. I don't pretend to know that. The Giants hopefully know that. And hopefully the Giants, when they have their sit-down talks at the end of the year with other people in the front office, find out just that. And that's not to say you have to be everybody's best friend to be successful in that job. You're a boss. People are going to like you. That's life.
Yeah, I'm sure Bill Belichick wasn't the best boss, but a lot of people like working with him.
They respected him. That's the difference. Yeah. You may say, that guy's a son of a bee. But I trust him. I know he's got my back. And while I don't agree with his delivery necessarily, he knows what he's talking about.
100%.
That's the difference. That's the difference. Meanwhile, Joe Schoen's having a peanut butter jelly sandwich somewhere in his car right now.
Yeah, he's taking all the guys offensive line after lunch for peanut butter jelly sandwiches because we're all down to earth instead of taking them out for a nice primer.
Yeah, he's an everyman's guy.
Yeah.
Well, let's get our next candidate here. And this is a guy that I remember we actually were looking at Joe Schoen. This was the guy that I was interested in back then. And he's gone for interviews. He interviewed last year for the Commanders GM job even. And that's Mike Borgonzi, the Chiefs assistant GM, originally from Everett, Massachusetts there. And trust me, if you hear this man talk for just a moment, you know that this man is from Massachusetts. I mean, he's got the Massachusetts look. Look at the picture. Don't tell me you don't see that.
He looks like, yeah, he looks like he's a pizza.
Didn't I see that guy drunk in the Green Dragon Tavern one time?
Just one time?
He's got the look, and if you listen to him in press conferences, he's definitely got that speech as well. So he graduated from Brown University, though, by the way, which is obviously a very prestigious school. Played fullback in college there too, as well. So he was, a football player in college. He's got a little bit of background from that respect there. Was the assistant recruiting coordinator for Boston College in 07-08. And then went right out of the Chiefs, where he's basically stayed at ever since. Minister of College Scouting in 09, Manager of Football Operations in 10, Pro Scout in 11 and 12, Assistant Director of Pro Scouting 13 and 14, Director of Player Personnel 15 to 17, Director of Football Operations 18 to 20, and since 21, he is the Assistant GM of the Chiefs. And not only that, if you listen to the way people talk about him, he's not just the assistant GM. He is, quite frankly, the right-hand man to Brett Veach, who is the GM and has been for some years now. Listen, say what you want about the Chiefs. I know it's kind of a bane in some people's existence in football world because, you look at the, like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce thing. No. Nobody likes Patrick Mahomes, quite frankly,
because he's a winner.
Sometimes too. It's the thing about the wives and girlfriends of Chiefs players. There's some people that aren't liked. I mean, obviously the kicker said some kind of controversial things, we'll say, in the offseason. There's definitely been some stuff.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to it, these guys have won 3 Super Bowls, guys.
They've been a very impressive team. They've rebuilt and just looked fantastic in every move. Yes. Now, some people say it's all Patrick Mahomes because he's so talented. Some people say the rest at this point because people have nothing better to say.
But, again, the defense is what's been doing it. And the defense has been built mostly through the draft. If you notice, they're not signing defensive stars every year. They're drafting guys. And you build successfully through the draft. And you can say it's Mahomes all you want. But guess what, guys? Mahomes was not the first quarterback taken. They traded up. They targeted Mahomes point blank. And they have the best quarterback of this generation now because of that.
They did, and they scouted right. He made a lot of right moves. They rebuilt that offensive line before he got there. They put weapons around him, and like no one talks about it. And you kind of hit it right there in the head. that defense, especially the past 3 years, has been top 5 defense no one wants to talk about.
Yep.
And when you take a rookie quarterback, you give him one of the best defenses and a good offensive line. Even if he makes a mistake, there's a good shot he's getting the ball back without points on the board and can still win ball games. And it helps build confidence. Look at Russell Wilson with the Seahawks back in 12 years ago whenever he was drafted.
Yep. But look at even like guys like Trey Smith, who I think was a 6th-round pick and is one of the best guards in all of the NFL. There's different guys they've gotten, like Leo Chanel, who's the guy that I love coming out of college to Wisconsin. They got, there's a whole bunch of guys you can list and go, wow, great moves. They went ahead and got Matt Ariza this offseason to be their new punter once he got cleared of his charges from prior. Like I said, they've made moves and they make smart moves.
Yeah.
And listen, if you guys don't want a team like the Chiefs, then I'm
You're
sorry.
silly. You're lying.
Fans, go be Jets fans. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not trying to sit there and kiss butt to the hail to the chief here at that point, but it's like this. But it's like that is point blank what you have, the best franchise in football. You should be trying to emulate what they're doing right now, and we do that with the people we got in the building. So here's what I got for pros and cons of them. Experience in a well-run franchise. I think that pretty much, says a lot. 13 years experience in the same franchise. Again, shows he's easy to work with, shows it's somebody they want to keep around, shows it's somebody that they keep elevating to higher status because this was his first NFL job. 3-time Super Bowl champion, as I mentioned. I think that's a pretty good statement to have there. My only issue with him, he's never been a GM. That's my only issue. Never been a GM. I would like to get somebody who's got some experience. If we go with, a guy like Borgonzi, what I'd like to go ahead and do is get an experienced guy to be alongside him to kind of help him, guide him, so to speak, and not a guy that's after his job, but just a veteran guy who's done it once or twice before that's fine with being the assistant GM, kind of maybe towards the tail end of his career, that kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a guy that's like wants maybe a ring or two and just wants to. He's a good assistant GM, maybe not the best GM out there, but can give advice.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about a guy later on that I actually think would fit that role if we want to scout him for that there as well too. So, but I don't want to give it away who it is. But like I said, I think that's where we're at. And out of the guys who've never had a GM position, again, maybe I'm biased because I liked this guy a lot a couple years ago. This is the guy I'd be very interested in, point blank. And you take the meeting at the very least with a guy like this because of the resume he's got, because of the resume the team he's been on has. You got to do it.
That, and you also have to look like this, right? So he's coming from a winning organization where he's literally like from the get-go, right? So you start with scouting, Minnesota scouting. Chiefs have done scouting fantastically for over a decade.
Yep.
Who was by this guy? So he's worked his way up the ladder. He worked his way up the rungs. So even if he's not long term, like which obviously you want, that's something you bring around and bring into your rooms and be like, why are you doing it this way? Like, you boneheads, like this is how you do it, and which elevates everyone else. Like, it's not just like, hey, do like this, do like this. And like, he could come in there. It seems like he's a smart guy that has that, a great accent. Be like, hey, how you do this?
And sometimes it's exactly that. It's just to have a conversation to pick a guy's brain. Like, there are people that I've sat down with in the same industry I'm at. I pick their brains, they pick my brains. We've kind of learned things from each other at that point. And sometimes an interview like that, that's what it's all about. Even if he's like, this is a guy I probably don't want or I probably can't get, but let's still sit down with him and just get pick his brain there. I do think he fits in that category. But again, if you get a chance to get a guy like this, assuming we fire Shane, we don't know that yet. But assuming we do, that's a guy that I'd be highly interested to bring in, at the very least, for a conversation, see what his plan is, and see if he's the guy that can go ahead and do it. So now we got a next guy here who is a little bit of controversial, I think is probably the best way to put this guy. Definitely has some dirty laundry in the hamper. We'd have to take a look at that dirty laundry and see if it's stained or if it's just a little sweat on it.
Or soiled. Amber Heard.
Well, I'm just
listen, everybody will know what we're talking about here in a minute. There's definitely an issue here. But another guy who's a former Giant, Brian Gaine, who's currently the Bills' assistant GM, literally took over for Joe Schoen at Buffalo, and he's a guy that is going to get some looks here potentially. Going to definitely get some looks. He's also background-wise, he's first-generation American. He's actually both his parents were born in Ireland. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He's a former tight end who played at Don Bosco Prep High School in Ramsey, New Jersey. Obviously, those of us who either lived at some point or grew up or whatever in the tri-state area, Don Bosco was pretty well known for being, a great pool of talent for the NFL overall. He went on to the University of Maine from there, went undrafted back in 95, spent 96 to 98 on the practice squads for the Jets, the Giants, and then the Chiefs. After his playing days, he was a scout for the Jets from 99 to 04, assistant director for the pro scouting for the Cowboys 05 to 07, assistant director of player personnel for the Dolphins 08 to 10, director of player personnel for the Dolphins in 11, assistant GM for the Dolphins 13 to 16, director of player personnel for the Texans 14 to 16, VP of player personnel for the Bills in 17, then became the GM for the Texans 18 to 19. That's when the scandal broke out about him, which we'll get to in a moment. They let him go. I literally right before the off-season programming started. It was a really weird timing kind of scenario. He went on to be a senior personnel advisor for the Bills from 19 to 21. Once Joe Schoen left, he slipped into that assistant GM role there. And it'd be kind of weird to replace Joe Schoen with the guy who replaced Joe Schoen, right?
Yeah.
That'd be weird. In the pro category for him, 25 years of experience in the NFL. That's a lot of experience, guys.
Yeah.
In the other pro column, GM experience. Again, I'd like to get a guy who's done it before, where there's not the learning curve, there's not the surprise like that. So we got a guy here. There's one big con though, and we got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
He was fired by the Texans after only one season. A former security advisor filed a complaint about him with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, said that Gaine targeted African-American employees for dismissal. Now, when they let him go, the Texans said that complaint was unrelated to his firing. After he was hired by the Bills, their GM, Brandon Beane, called the accusations baseless. I don't pretend to know what happened there. And I'm going to say this because I hear this guy's name brought up a lot in conversations for potential GMs. What I want to see, if we go that route, even talking to him, before you even talk to him and bring him in the building, you better know damn well what happened there. Because if somebody's willing to do something like that, I don't want it anywhere near part of the Giants. Just don't want it. But I also don't want to sit there and blindly say that an accusation is accurate without having all the facts, especially an accusation as heinous as that. But we don't have that opportunity. The Giants do. Let's be very frank. The Giants have the paycheck to cut to get the information, and they will if they're interested in them.
100%.
So if those accusations are proven false, then yeah. Guy with experience, guy who's worked with some good organizations, I definitely would want to bring him in. If the accusations are true, I want nothing to do with it whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. So, like I said, we'd have to see that part of it there. And unfortunately, like I said, we just don't have that option. So we'll have to trust that the Giants will hopefully do the right thing there. All righty. Now, we have a fun tradition of whenever a name is difficult, we ask Rob to pronounce it.
Oh, yes.
No, I got you. I won't be that mean. We got George Kokinis, the Ravens VP of player personnel here. Another guy that's coming from a great organization that's got, let's be honest, again, the Giants wish we had the success that this team's had in the last 10 years. From Wethersfield, Connecticut, by the way. So listen, Connecticut, I feel like if you're in Connecticut, you got a 33% shot of being a Giants fan. It could be a Patriots fan, could be a Giants fan, could be a Jets fan.
Some people kind of go to Buffalo there too, but yeah.
Is it Connecticut? That's a far. That's even farther than Jersey to be a Buffalo fan. Buffalo's the other side. It's Western New York.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, well, you got some Steeler fans and stuff like that too. There, I'm sure that's just the way it is. You'd always get that.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Maybe 30% chance. 30% chance he's a Giants.
Yeah, it's fair.
I only say that because, listen, not that I ever anticipate having a career in the NFL in a front office, because let's be honest, I'll get myself kicked out for saying something stupid. But if I did, because I grew up a Giant fan and I am a Giants fan, I would run, not even like, walk. I would run to a job interview. Like, I would run so damn fast that I have to change my shirt from this pit stains. Like, that's what I would do.
Well, here in Florida, that happens quite easily.
So I'm just saying, like, that might be something intriguing at that point, that it's the guy you might be able to, get a little more intrigued in your job opening if he did grow up a Giants fan, which is a possibility. He has degrees in psychology and sports management. One of the rare guys we got so far that was not a football player. Did just not the best. Everything I've looked up was never a football player. He started his career as a scout for the Browns in 91 to 95. Then went off to the Ravens, because obviously the Ravens went off to Baltimore. Area scout from 96 to 99, assistant director of pro personnel 2000 to 2002, director of pro personnel 03 to 08, GM for the Browns in 09, and then went back to the Ravens after that season. Senior personnel director 2010 to 2018, director of player personnel 19 to 23, and then the VP of player personnel. This is his first year in that role. So, as far as pros and cons wise, pros, got GM experience. Doesn't get me wrong, not great experience, not long experience. I'm not trying to toot that horn.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. That's like if you're picking an instrument to toot that horn, this is a kazoo. Like, that's what this is. Like, 1 year with the Browns, and that's it. But again, he's still gotten the job. He's still at a first go around. He still understands some of what he'll have to do as a GM better than somebody who's never done the job before. Years in the Ravens, excellent front office. Because, guys, again, there's certain franchises that point blank you have to toot their horn and go, you've done a damn good job. The Ravens are definitely one of those teams. Consistently winning, consistently getting the playoffs, everything that we wish we had. Let's be frank about that. So, and obviously 2 Super Bowl rings with the Ravens as well. So, as far as cons wise, GM experience was very limited. And the other thing is, why hasn't he gotten a second shot at GM? He was a GM back in 09, guys. We're talking 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. So it makes me wonder, is there something we're not aware of? Because, again, we're not in those conversations. But this is the guy whose name has really popped up because, again, he's now the VP of player personnel this year. He's getting a little more cred than he usually does get. The Ravens also been pumping him out there. They've actually putting him on their podcast to have conversations, stuff like that. Really trying to build a name for him. So it makes me think
they're secretly trying to get or secretly try to get rid of them.
Put him on the podcast. Somebody will want him.
Yeah. Let's see what we can get for this guy. Otherwise, we got to pay him again.
That's what we do. We put people on a podcast. We want to get rid of them. Welcome to our podcast. The women made us do a podcast. But I mean, like, again, you got to have these conversations to know if this is a guy that's legit worthy of it. But this is a guy whose name keeps coming up. And again, been involved with this Ravens franchise for a long time. And the second it didn't work out in Cleveland, guys, they brought him right back. Right back. I think that says a lot for what they think of him.
Big time.
And again, they've kept him the whole time. They keep moving him up. Yeah, like I said, to me, that's a guy that you got to get in the room. You got to have that conversation with. And you got to figure out where he's at, what his plan is, and see if it matches with your plan that you have. So, alrighty, guys. Before we get to our next candidate, we're going to go ahead and pay the bills. By the way, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, we're at 22 subscribers. We just need now to get that 1,000 subscribers.
We're still
Help
close.
us meet our goal.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. BuyMeACoffee.com/2GiantGoofballs.
Alrighty, guys. And of course, if you want to support the show other ways, you can also go ahead and send a super chat here on YouTube. You can send stars on Facebook. Or again, if you want to go the free route, we're fine with that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the share, tell a friend. Because quite frankly, we suck at marketing and we count on you all to help us out with that. Again, we're 22 subscribers away from hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark, guys. Help us out if you can there.
Really does help the show.
Let's get to the next guy. We got 3 more candidates to go over. And for those of y'all living in New York, this is going to be a guy that you're going to hear the name immediately and say, know exactly who he is. Phil Savage. Not to be confused with Ben Savage or Fred Savage. No relation that I'm
Or the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Well, that's his cousin, actually. No, seriously. That was his cousin.
Slap it to us, son.
Okay, I don't know. From Mobile, Alabama, graduated in 1987 from the University of the South. But I can't believe there's a University of the South. Have you ever heard of that before?
No, but I guess, yeah.
University of the South.
All the South.
Where he played
football,
including being a 3-time all-conference shortstop. He was also a frequent guest of Sirius XM and ESPN before he took this Jets job as well. So if the name rings a bell for y'all outside of the Jets organization, that's why. He was graduate assistant from 87 to 89 at the University of the South. Tight ends coach for UCLA back in 1990. Member of the San Antonio Riders of the World League of American Football coaching staff in 91. Defensive assistant for the Browns in 91 to 93. You know what that means. You know who he coached under? A certain Bill Belichick.
I was going to say, a guy that got fired.
But also a guy that we have reached out to before for information that thinks very highly of the Giants organization, though not highly enough that he wanted to come here, but that's a whole separate issue. So here's a guy we could bring in that's got GM experience like that and worked under a guy that we know pretty well. After that job, he went to the front office. That's when he decided to become a scout. So college scout for the Browns, 93, 94. National scout for the Browns, 95. Director of college scouting, 96 to 2002. Director of player personnel, 03 to 04. Was a senior VP and GM for the Browns, 05 to 08. Player personnel consultant for the dreaded Eagles, 10 and 11. Player personnel executive for the Eagles, 11 and 12. Then became the GM for the Arizona Hotshots of the Alliance of American Football in 2019. After that, he became a senior personnel advisor for the Jets, kind of a I'll help you out when you need me kind of role. And then obviously this year, he's now the interim GM for the Jets since they fired their GM mid-season here. So back for the second time, at least in the NFL, as a GM. Pros and cons wise, 30 years of front office experience. That's a lot of years of experience, guys. Again, we're talking his scouting, his first front end job he had in the scout, 93, guys. I was in 5th grade. Just saying, like that's, and I'm not young. That's pretty bad. I feel old now just even talking about that. And he was working at that point. Again, multiple GM positions held. The big con for him is, again, GM positions have not been for a playoff team during his time. Like the Browns were not good, though you can say they let him go a little early. They had success after he left with a lot of the people he drafted. That little bit of run that was with Baker. They also had, obviously the Jets, you can't hold him against that. He didn't build his team. He's just kind of holding down the fort. But again, a guy that's got experience, a guy that's well thought of in NFL circles. And listen, guys, there's not going to be a lot of guys with experience out there, because the guys with experience 9 times out of 10 are, still experiencing that experience. They still have a job.
Yeah.
It's not, guys don't grow on trees that do that kind of work. That's for sure. Obviously as a good guy as far as dealing with the media as well, being he was literally a member of the media at some point. I think that's an important part of the New York job that people don't always think about. Like the media attention is much bigger on us because we're a New York team.
You need someone who can work that room. So, all right. We got 2 more guys here. And then we see all the comments. We're going to start getting to some comments here, guys. Right after those 2 there. So, you got here, next up, a guy that you would swear worked for Bill Belichick as well, basically his last name. But he did not. He did not. And that's John Spytek. Don't tell me that's not a Bill Belichick disciple name right there. Deflate Gate and Spygate and all these gates. But nope, he did not. Is a graduate of University of Michigan. Was a football operations intern for the Lions in 2004, pro personnel intern for the Eagles in 2005, college scouting assistant for the Eagles in 2006, scouted for the Eagles in 2007 to 2009, director of college scouting for the Browns 10 to 12, scout for the Broncos 13 to 15, director of player personnel for the Bucs 16 to 21, VP of player personnel for the Bucs 21-22, and now since last year, so when I was in the second season, as the assistant GM for the Bucs. So he's definitely been moving up that ladder with the Buccaneer organization, which I know for us growing up was like one of the laughing stocks. Like it was like almost like the Browns basically. But lately, guys, you can't
They're
really
a different team.
Yeah,
Well,
you can't really say that.
We're going to talk about it a little bit too, but I mean, do they win the South? All of the South?
Yeah, they're going to win the South. I'm going to say it myself. They're going to win the South, but we'll get into that. Pros and cons wise, pros has spent his time climbing the ranks, has come from a franchise with recent success, has a Super Bowl ring, and here's the other part of it. That if you're playing chess, meaning you're trying to think of after moves, this is the part you might not be thinking of yet. One of the guys we talked about as a head coach candidate that's definitely going to get some interviews this offseason is Bucs offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, who literally came in and has made this one of the best offenses in the NFC right now. They have a horrible defense in Tampa Bay, which is weird because, it's a defensive coach they got in Todd Bowles there. I would say Bowles.
Yeah.
That's a complete different thing.
Wow, movements.
Todd Bowles, who's, again, former Jet coach. So most of y'all know him from his days there, but great defensive mind, but the defense personnel is not there. But here's a guy who's getting all he can out of the offense for the Bucs with all the injuries they've had. Chris Godwin's been out. Mike Evans has been up and down as far as his injuries go. And you can get a guy who's got experience now as an assistant GM that's ready for his first job. He's done his time, and he can bring with him a guy who is going to be I don't want to say coveted because we'll find out who actually really is coveted, but at least the guy who's the whispers are out there for him to be a guy to be a head coach this offseason here. So, like I said, definitely an interesting candidate that I don't think is getting enough talk, but I've definitely heard some whispers around with him now.
So what your inside information says down there?
Well, I don't have much inside information. I don't pretend to be that guy, but I can tell you they do think very highly of him in the Bucs organization, just living down here and such. And, if the Bucs don't like to lose people they like, and that's part of why, they've moved this guy up a couple of times now. But there's only one other way to move him up, and that's to get rid of your GM. And the Bucs point blank are not going to do that. They're very big fans of Jason Light. He's been a guy who's been very good at this organization as a whole. And, he's been the GM now for a decade. And it's been one of the better decades of Bucs history, basically. He's not going anywhere. Yeah. So they're running the spots to move him up. Unless you're to make him the co-GM.
Yeah.
Like you're running out of spots. So
the director of operations of assistant general managers.
Yes. The procurement manager for players.
Yeah. Just make up a new title for him.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, the one concern I have again is he's never been a GM. First time candidates, that's always gonna be something that scares me. But you have to have them in the interview process. You have to have those conversations with them and see where they're gonna be at. And again, I wish we could be a fly in the room for some of these conversations. We have a better idea of, who we like and who we don't like based on what their plans are. But got to trust the Giants do the right thing, and you got to hope they're going to bring somebody else in potentially to help them in the search. Because let's be honest, we've hired a lot of GMs lately. Not been the best.
Yeah.
All right, guys. One more guy, and then we're getting on to your comments here. So this is a guy who has 3 names. 3 names.
Ooh.
Jon-Eric Sullivan. I never seen Jon-Eric as a first name, but literally both names, and it's a hyphen. I mean, it's got one of those minus signs in between. Jon-Eric.
With no H.
No H. Yeah, no, it's just a John with a Jon. He's the Packers VP of Player Personnel. Graduated from Gardner-Webb after starting college at South Carolina, where he also played wide receiver. He's the son of Jerry Sullivan, who coached for over 40 years, and actually still coaches right now for the University of Miami as a wide receivers coach. Think about that for a second. Where does he coach?
Oh, Miami. Welcome to Miami.
Who's the quarterback there? Just saying.
Oh. Ooh, pew, pew.
Just saying. You think he might have some insight into Cam Ward? That's part of the thought process on this guy as well. So, but Jerry Sullivan is the guy who, like I said, was coached for 40 some odd years in this league throughout the NCAA and the NFL. Very, very widely respected for his work, especially with wide receivers. He's definitely thought of as one of those guys, like a wide receiver whisperer, so to speak. There. So Jon-Eric, again, has worked for the Packers his entire career. I feel like weird, like saying Jon-Eric, like it should be John or Eric, right? Like, that's what his name is. That's how I've ever seen it's been listed that way. National Football Scouting Representative 04 to 07, college scout from 08 to 15, director of college scouting 16 and 17, co-director of player personnel 18 to 21, and has been the VP of player personnel 22, 23, and 24 now. So, again, comes from a very well-run franchise, and that's got to be, part of the equation here. Again, I know the Packers are one of those teams that a lot of people don't like, but let's be honest here, they haven't had a bad quarterback in 30 years. What do we need?
A QB.
You think this guy might have hopefully picked up something in Green Bay that might be able to help us out, besides sitting a guy for 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, besides them just drafting quarterbacks, like they've done a lot of right moves and been relevant. They've always played good football. It's not like they've had a bad couple of years. They've always been right there and still made good moves in the draft with not being the 4th spot, the 1 spot, the 6th spot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's the worst draft? They definitely hit the G spot a few times. Green Bay spot.
But this was a knock they had actually when Rodgers was there. I remember them complaining like crazy. They would never go sign free agents. They were big on just draft, and keep your players. But it's worked for them. I mean, they do it now. Look at the talent they have in that defense. Look at we talked. I think you and I were talking about the wide receivers just the day. Even at that point, they've got a collection of young wide receivers, and none of them are like stars. None of them are stars.
No,
but they have a whole bunch of good receivers at that point.
Like Dobbs is, he's played like a number 1 for the most part. But Watson was supposed to be that guy a few years back, 3-4 years ago, he was drafted at this point. But he hasn't lived up to the hype of that. But that's sometimes you get that. But he's still a good Robin.
Yeah.
When he's healthy.
Yep. And you got beyond that as well, you got Jalen Reed, who's done very good for them. They got Kraft, their tight end, who's played very well. That's what I'm saying. And these are all guys they've drafted. I don't mean first round picks. I mean they've drafted guys in the mid rounds, like day 2, day 3 guys, and they have done very good.
They got Kraft last year, 2 years ago, and
they got him and Musgrave both 2 years ago, didn't they? Didn't they double draft the tight end position?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 2 years ago, you pick up this guy in the draft, right? They had those Jordan Love's first year over there, and they had 9 wins.
Yeah.
So where did you think they were in the draft? So they started off in the middle of the pack.
Urs. Packers.
Oh, the middle packer.
But yeah, like I said, they've done very good, and they've had a lot of very successful picks. Again, this is a guy who was directly involved with the scouting
of the college players at that point there for many years with them. He's a guy who has gone up their ranks. And again, if you can have the success of the Packers, you would take it in a heartbeat. Now, you may want some more rings because they don't quite get the job done. I take that like subtle jab.
Say a little dig right there.
A little dig. They've won twice in my lifetime. Half as good as us, but every time I think of the Packers, I think of Tom Coughlin and his nose falling off from frostbite. But whatever.
Yeah, and then make a couple missed field goals.
Such a great. But pros and cons wise, again, came up from a well-run franchise, worked his way up the ranks. But the cons are not only has he never been a GM, he's never been an assistant GM even. But he's a guy that a lot of people are thinking is a guy who's ready to be a GM, and you're going to see some interviews for him. That's very sure. So, like I said, I think one of those guys that not everybody might be thinking of because he doesn't have the flashy name. He doesn't have necessarily the experience, but there's a lot of people talking already about him where I think, come Black Monday here in a couple of days, he might be getting some phone calls, and rightfully so based on the work that's been happening in Green Bay. So,
I mean, they also say never trust a man with 2 first names, but he's got like 3.
He's got
2.5.
Well, unless you want to go Sullivan as Sully, I mean that's could be 3, I guess, but
there's some Sullivans out there.
Is there? That's 2 last names. I don't trust them even more. All right, let's get to the comments real quick then, and then we got one more slight bit of news here real quick to go over with you guys, and then we got to do our picks, and we're already 48 minutes in, guys, so you know what that means. It's going to be
let's go
speedy picks selections here.
Little grease lightning.
Quentin Jones says, hey, and then TP away the Giant, let's go. And this is guys we're just actually talking with them football right before we got on here, so appreciate it, guys. G242 Marshall, salute. And I feel like we're doing like the home improvement thing, which by the way, I heard Tim Allen's got a new show coming out. He's got a show coming out with the girl from one of the girls, so the black hair girl from Two Broke Girls. That was also in the Marvel movie.
I was about to say in the Marvel movie, Katie or something.
Kat Dennings or whatever her name is. So the two of them, apparently, like she's
got really big eyes.
That's why her name's Kat. Kat's the big eyes. But so he plays his usual grumpy self, and he is, my understanding, widowed, running an auto restoration shop. And she basically ran away from home, and now she's a single mother with kids and stuff, and she needs help and moved back in with her dad after I'm not talking for years. It sounds directly right up Tim Allen's. Like I think that's going to be a good show. We'll see.
It could be.
Authentic says, new GM. Did he get fired? No, we hope so. But we'll find out. We'll find out Monday, Tuesday, or something like that. What's going to happen there? But Clinton says, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well, man. Appreciate it. Andre says, good evening, boys. Let's go. Isaac says, we need a quarterback. Yes, we do. Andre says, how are the rumors here? ESPN is just talking about Darnold's performance and the playoffs. Ha ha ha. Talking about the playoffs. Remember those days? Those were the good Giants. Isaac says, have fun paying Darnold $40+ million per year. And then Clinton says, right. But listen, someone's got to pay him. He's playing like an elite quarterback.
Listen, there's some people who are saying like he might go for the MVP candidate because like he took a team and he's a little black girl. But
that just came out weird the way you said
that. No, but let's think about it. Like
he got sidetracked now.
I guess sidetracked.
Tea time.
Jolly good. Yes.
It's like when we did our episode, went to London, and we got our top hat
against Green Bay.
Yeah, that was a spectacular start to the show.
But I mean, he's battling right now for first place in the NFC. Not first place in the division. Well, I mean, that comes hand in hand. But this game coming up this weekend is a very important game. And no one saw that coming out of the Vikings. Like, they saw them being a good team, but not the best team in the NFC.
I'm going to throw something weird at you guys here to say that $40 million for him is not necessarily so bad. Let me ask you this. Would you say is his year better this year than Daniel Jones was in 22?
100%.
And what did Daniel Jones get paid?
He got the $40 million. And
so
you know what?
$40 million 2 years later, coming off an MVP discussion year at least, then
I think this past month, 5 weeks. I think 5 weeks. He's thrown 14 touchdowns and like 3 picks.
Yeah.
It's some crazy stats.
If I was to sign him, I'd still want it out just in case it was the offense and the scheme and that kind of stuff. But you can do worse.
I read something earlier. Who was the quarterback that Sam Darnold replaced?
JJ McCarthy.
What? Oh no! I meant when he got drafted. I didn't even take it back. When he got drafted to the Jets.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It wasn't Sanchez, right? That was too.
No. But they do work hand in hand.
Gino.
Look it up. We're live.
I am. You know me better than that. Let's see.
He didn't play long for the Jets.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Bryce Petty.
He also had he was the backup.
Josh McCown.
Yeah.
McCown. But he was also there the first year that Darnold was there.
He was. That's what I'm saying. He was Sam Darnold's backup. And you know what he said? That man will get a Pro Bowl in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that's his quarterback coach.
Yeah, it's funny because no one ever talks about trying to get the OC from Minnesota to come over as a head coach and get Sam Darnold and rebuild the team that way. I'm just saying, just work plans.
Oh, listen, you brought up the Jets thing, and I was just like joking around in my head because you know who came out this yesterday or this morning saying he's going to wait till March to figure out if he's going to retire or not.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers himself.
I
Imagine he goes to the Giants, which is funny. I saw the comments.
What? Aaron Rodgers?
Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's not going to the Giants. No in hell. Let's see here. And then Isaac says maybe the franchise him. Who knows? Deb says you don't get where the Chiefs are without great coaching. Hated the Eagles, but was an Andy Reid fan back when he was there. No, 100%. Andy Reid is an amazing football coach. And, I always talk about Mike Tomlin being like the best coach in the league. But, it's just because I'm trying to give the man credit for basically getting a, above average team with below average talent year in, year out. Andy Reid is definitely the best coach in football. We're being honest, he is.
He made Donovan McNabb look good.
Yeah, you can even have a discussion with who's actually better, him or Belichick, career-wise. You could actually have that discussion, and it's a legit discussion to have.
I think it's a fair discussion to have. Yeah.
By the way, we're up to 979 subscribers, guys. Thank you very much, the people who have subscribed. So we need 21 more, just 21 more. Deb says, makes me nervous because Shane was assistant GM with a successful organization too. Yeah, no, like I said, there's always that. Here's the difference I feel like with Shane. Shane didn't grow up in a successful organization. Like he moved around. He was with Carolina, Miami, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deb, but I believe that the comment came up when we were talking about getting Mike Borgonzi from the Chiefs.
Yes.
So, again, he's a guy who has been brought up and raised in that organization as far as his career, whereas Shane kind of moved around a little bit more. And that's one reason why I like him, because he's only learned the Chief way. He doesn't know the other ways. Whenever you work in multiple places, you become kind of a hodgepodge of those places. Borgonzi is a Chief. He has the Chief's way. It's always been taught. Isaac said, I wanted Louis Riddick a couple of years ago. I never get that one, Louis Riddick. I mean, I don't know. I was never a fan of Riddick personally, but nothing against him. Just doesn't excite me. Good says, Happy New Year's, Rob.
Happy New Year's, Bubba dude.
Just me, though. Just you, though. I don't get the Happy New Year. I see how it is.
He said, F you, Drew.
I would say Happy New Year to you, Clinton, but Clinton, I agree, Deb. Let's see here. Miz, what's up, man? Says, Sup? Brothers, Miz. It was nice snoozing with you. Well, hold on a second. We were talking together, sir.
I was about to say, do I need to tell your wife something?
Listen, she already knows, though. Miz says my name, and then says, I like Dart a lot. Like I said, Dart, you could do worse than Dart. We said it yesterday. Like Dart's the guy. You get the mid-range, like third, fourth round. You try him out for a year, you see what he develops into, and You make a decision towards the end of the year if you need to go get yourself a quarterback, or if you have developed him to somebody that you want to think can start. See, Hirsch for real. Hello. I'm starting to think we are not drafting a quarterback. It's possible. We'll see. And then he says, Mara will just wait for Arch. No waiting. No waiting.
Yeah.
Yes, not going to happen. Dorothy says, I did a bunch of research. John Gruden for coach. You know what? We're actually going to have to probably bring up that topic. And to be honest, I feel like that topic, if we bring that up, is going to upset some people potentially, because there's a lot of controversy surrounding him.
A lot of emails.
Yeah, but we might have to bring it up because it's getting brought up more and more as him being a legit guy that somebody might look at as a head coach, which will definitely upset Dave Portnoy over at Barstool Sports, who just signed him to be part of their programming for a while there. I'm sure he's got an out clause if he gets a head coaching job, though. Dorothy also says, no more first-time GMs or dinosaurs, something in the middle. That's the problem. It's really, there's not guys like that you can sit there and say.
It's hard because if you're an accessible in a good team, an organization, they're not really going to give you up because they're going to keep signing you to more money and more money.
Yeah.
Because you're helping the team win. So you're going to need to give someone a shot, or you're going to have to take a dinosaur that's like, hey, listen, you've done a great job for this organization. We just need change.
Yeah. And we've the people we talked about, we had, mostly assistant GMs, but we had a couple of guys with some experience as a GM. One of them, I don't know if you say dinosaur and be mean about it, but he's a little older and savage. And, you get another guy who, in Gaine, who, like I said, has some controversy. There's a reason he's not a GM anymore. And we don't know whether or not what's real and what's not. So, Dorothy says Aaron Rodgers bridge QB, a bridge to retirement, hopefully, but it's a whole separate thing.
Hopefully, with wheelchair ramp.
Yeah, the bridge to a cave where I can do some shrooms and get high for a while.
That's
Dorothy
probably
says,
what he's doing to figure out if he's retired or not.
We should be drafting a mid-round QB for a long time every year. Yes, I was actually upset we didn't get anything, for the quarterback position last year. I could not believe it. But I couldn't believe everything we did with the quarterback position last year. We're like, this group sucks. What are we going to do? Roll it back. Keep it going.
Yeah. Roll the dice. Let's see what happens.
Like, oh, wait a minute. We can't roll it back because our backup quarterback doesn't want to come back because he hates us. I guess we'll get your luck. We'll move on.
I guess we're going to leave Vegas without our shoes.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Craziness. Christopher Tony, isn't there a seasoned GM out there that's been successful? Who else is available? Honestly, there's not, because if you go get a guy who's been successful, guess what? They already have a job because they were successful.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. And like I said, if I had to pick these out of these guys here, Borgonzi's my guy. I'll say it point blank. And if the main reason is because he's done his time and he's been with one organization, and it's a very successful organization. So, as Dorothy says, Dave Gettleman's still available. No, we've done that before. On down that road. We were not doing that road again. All right. We got to talk about one last thing real quick here before we get into the our picks here. And that's Giants being named to the Pro Bowl. We made it to a bowl this year. It's a bowl game.
We did it.
Did it. Dexter Lawrence has been named to his third straight Super Bowl, and deservingly so. I mean, guys,
Pro Bowl.
Played. That says Pro Bowl. I'm sorry, third straight Pro Bowl. I wish third straight Super Bowl. You can't get voted to that though.
Yeah.
But yeah, third straight. The guy deserves it, point blank. I mean, half the year I feel like he missed it. He had like 9 sacks on the season out of the defensive tackle, the nose tackle position. Like absolute beast. We have a couple guys listed as alternatives too. Brian Burns named as a first alternative, so that means that one person backs out, Burns is in. So this is why it makes it so difficult to evaluate Burns. It's like you expect like an automatic Pro Bowl selection with $30 million edge rusher, but I mean he did get there as an alternative because at least one guy's going to back out. You know it.
Yeah.
Everybody like. It's like a struggle to get people actually to go to the Pro Bowl. I don't know why. It seems like a fun time from everything I saw last year.
Well, usually what it happens is you get guys that are getting nominated to go to Pro Bowl on good teams. And what happens with good teams this time of year? They're going to the playoffs or going to the Super Bowl. And why are you going to go, especially like the old days, like last year changed up a lot, but like, why are you going to go out and take the shot to get hurt? Rest up, get ready for the big game.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I get why people don't, and I get why people do. It's a choice thing. It's a choice thing. And then we also have another guy, Malik Neighbors, named to his second alternative. So if 2 wide receivers back out, Malik Neighbors is in. Listen, as your rookie to be even listed as a potential Pro Bowler.
Especially when you play with 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like this is a interesting option here for a guy who can go ahead and be a rookie playing with a bad quarterback all year long. And I don't mean that at one. I said bad quarterbacks, I should say. They're all been bad. Every single one of them. Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, Tim Boyle, Daniel Jones, and the man still cracks 1,000 yards his rookie season.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing there. So definitely kudos to all 3 of them, especially Dexter Lawrence actually being named to the team, the very first, roster. But, like I said, for a team this bad to have 3 guys on defense listed as potential Pro Bowlers, I should have 2 guys overall, I should say, Neighbors' offense. That's, like I said, it's something at least. Like, I'm trying to give you some silver lining. This season sucks, God damn it.
Yeah.
You got something positive, I guess.
It's
That's
been
where we're at.
terrible.
That's where we're at. All righty, guys. Let's get into our picks here because this is the name of the game. And as usual, guys, we want you guys to put in your comments who you think is going to win in these games here as well. We got week 18, the final week. It's the final countdown. Boom. I don't know why it's so catchy, that song it is. But anyway, and by the way, we just hit 980 subscribers. Thank you, whoever just subscribed there. Much appreciated. Let's recap where we're at here on the season here. So as of right now, going into this season, this final week of the regular season here, for straight up wins, I have 171. Rob, you got 167. For spread picks, I got 137. You got 115. You beat me up on the over-unders. I got 131. You got 139. And on the trifectas, meaning the same game, we got the winner, spread pick, and the over-unders all correct. I got 64. You got 53. So I have a 29-point lead going into the final week. So you basically got to blow me out of the water and then continue to blow me out of the water for the postseason as well. We will keep going all postseason long, guys. Let's go with our first game here. We got the Browns at the Ravens. That is a 4:30 game on Saturday. The Saturday game. Keep in mind the college is over, so we got Saturdays for NFL football here. And you got a ridiculous spread here, guys. The Ravens are favored by 17.5 points, which is just ridiculous. It's like they're playing the Giants or something. A 41.5 over under on that as well. And to put that into perspective, that means they're only expecting the Browns to throw like 12 points, and that's it. I did the math on that. That's how bad it is. Like that's really bad, guys. And listen, I'm going to go with the Ravens to win this because they're clearly the better team. Now, they're still also fighting for playoff contention here. So if they, playoff positioning, I should say. If they beat the Browns, they got the AFC North wrapped up, done. It's theirs. And they get the 3rd seed in the playoffs. If they lose, then it gives Pittsburgh a chance to go ahead and win the division, which would drop the Ravens down to the 5th seed. So they're still playing for something here because that also means they get a home game, their first game in the playoffs too as well. So let's be honest, the Ravens need every playoff help they can get because
they definitely do not want to play Kansas City.
No. So again, Ravens, I got to win. I got the Browns to beat the spread because that's just a freaking ridiculously sick spread of 17.5 points. I also going to go with the over on the 41.5 because the Ravens defense isn't the Ravens defense of old. They're definitely going to allow some points up. It's going to be still a blowout, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be like a 2-touchdown score, not the 2-touchdown and a field goal and more.
Yeah, no, so 100%. Ravens is the better team. Like they've been hanging in there all year long. You're talking about Lamar Jackson, who's MVP candidate. Like everyone like is saying how great he's been for the past couple of years, and he's trying to get that title, but he's also trying to get a Super Bowl win. He's got a lot to prove to beat the Steelers, who've been nipping at the side. Well, they were leading the division for a little bit. So the Ravens are going to win this game. But you know what happened the last time these two teams met? The Browns won. This is still a divisional game. This is still a divisional game. And they would like nothing more to spoil anything for their divisional rivals. So I do think they're going to win the spread.
As a Giant fan, I'm just going to say I am voting. I'm rooting so much for the Browns to win this game. It's not
100%.
Keep in mind, this is not about just playoffs for us guys. This is also about our own tanking position.
Draft picks.
I mean, tanking. It's called tanking.
But the last time they met, they also went over into what this game was. I believe it was like 27-30 with a Browns win.
Yeah, so we really got to figure this part of it out here because we are right now the 4th overall pick. The Browns are one of the 3 that are in front of us. So if we can jump the Browns or the Titans, we could be up to where we're going to get probably one of the 2 quarterbacks because New England's probably going to take Travis Hunter. By the way, we're up to 982 now, just 18 more subscribers, guys. Thank you very much to the 2 people who just subscribed there.
Muchas gracias.
All right, sorry, I cut you off. Continue your train of thought.
Oh no, I'm saying the Ravens are going to win. The Ravens are probably going to blow this team out. As much as I was saying before, the Browns playing them close. It's not I do think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be sad. And the Ravens are in such a hot spot of just beating up teams, as the Browns are just going nowhere. I do think it's going to go in the over. I think the Ravens themselves are going to put up 35 points. I mean, the Browns just put up 3 points last week. They don't know. They benched Winston. They didn't want to put in Watson.
Back.
Yeah.
50 shot. It throws to the right team.
But listen, who cares? He puts up points. If you're talking about players that want to win ball games, you got Winston who's going to throw the ball down the field. At least you have an idea the ball's going to go down the field. You got DTR, their 3rd straight quarterback that they picked up a few years ago. He's probably going to hold on to the ball and be very conservative with it, and that's what they've been playing ball like.
Oh yeah.
Up next, you got another AFC North divisional game at the 8:00 Saturday night. You got the Bengals.
Saturday.
You get the Bengals going into Steel City playing the Steelers. The Bengals are 4.5-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is at 44 points. Now, this game on paper just looks like fun. You got the Bengals have been running hot. You got the Steelers have been wishy-washy, but
I just realized I made a mistake. On our sheet, I put 44. It's 48.
Doesn't matter. Still gonna go over. It's gonna be.
I'm just making sure before you give your pick that we're not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's gonna end in the 50s.
44.
You got Russell Wilson has helped. Really, he's revived his career, looking good with the Steelers. You also have Joe Burrow, which is probably the 2nd best quarterback this year in this league. He's got the most franchise touchdowns for the Bengals. He's got one of the most, I think, in NFL history with 2 touchdowns, a running touchdown, plus 300 yards and a certain amount of games. I think he's got 5, which is crazy. He's holding so many stats this year. It's just the defense is terrible on the Bengals. But there's a lot of implications that we're not talking about here because the Cincinnati Bengals, who went 1-4 at the beginning of this year, and I've said from the first month that never count this team out with Joe Burrow, are now still in playoff potentials. They need to win this game, but they also need to hopes and dreams and a whole bunch of unicorn farts.
Yes.
Because they would also need either the Broncos. Is it the Broncos and the Dolphins, or just one of them?
And the Dolphins to both lose and them to win.
Yep. And the Steelers need this game to get that 1st seed division, like we were just talking about with the last game, and not get the 5th seed.
Well, Steelers need to win, have the Ravens lose, have a chance to get the 3rd seed instead of the 5th seed and get the division.
I was getting there, Drew. Yes, you're right. So, what do you feel about this game, Drew? Because I'm taking the Bengals win, Bengals cover, Steelers cover, and the over.
So I'm taking Steelers to win, and Steelers obviously going to cover then at that point, and the over. I just think this is going to be one of those games that a little Mike Tomlin magic's going to be coming out of that hat. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. And I don't know if he's going to trip somebody to win this game, whatever he has to do, but he's going to find a way to win this game. He might. You just never know. All right, we're on to Sunday, guys. Sunday. 1 p.m. games. We got the Panthers at the Falcons. Falcons are 8-point favorites. You got a 48-point spread overall in this. And guys, let's be honest here. The Falcons should win this game. This is the battle of a first-year quarterback versus a second-year quarterback here. So you get to see two at least young quarterbacks in this league here if you watch the game. I'm going to say the Falcons win this year, but a 10 points. But I have multiple things here. Again, 8-point spread. Seriously, someone's messing up the sheet here. It's an 8-point spread on this, where I feel like that it's too much points at that point. I feel like this is going to be like a field goal kind of game. I just feel like it's going to be a close game. It's a divisional game. Panthers have been playing well, better lately. So I got Panthers to go ahead and cover the spread. And I got under on the points. I still think it's going to be a low-scoring game. You got a quarterback still learning, and you got a quarterback that's still trying to get into high school and grow up. So, things are going to happen here. So, and not very fast. It's going to be a defensive-minded game. So, yeah, Falcons, Panthers, under.
I know. Falcons in the under because Penix Jr. the guy that we talked about last year is going to come out and play great football. He's played the past 2 weeks. They've been putting up points. They've been using the offense a lot more. And this Panthers team is god-awful. So they're going to get that. I was okay with a 10-point spread and picking the Falcons. The Falcons are going to win in a blowout. So, yeah, there's not much more you need to say about that because they also need to win this game to have hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams. Yes. So if they win and the Bucs lose, and they get the division.
100%. Up next, and a meaningless game for playoff potentials, you got the Commanders going into Dallas, play the Cowboys. Commanders are 4.5-point favorites, and the over-under on this is 44 points. There's really not much to be said about this game. No. Commanders have come out, looked fantastic, and you don't even have Dak playing, who hasn't looked good when he was playing, and Cowboys are pretty much shutting it down. Would they like to make the DC lose and ruin some of the potentials? It doesn't really matter because they're going to get that. They're going to get a wild card spot. So you're going to get the Commanders to win this game. They're going to cover us, and they're going to do it in the over.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of contention as far as positioning. It's just if the Commanders lose, the Packers win. The Packers get the 6th seed, and the Commanders go down to the 7th seed. If the Commanders win, they got the 6th seed clinched up there. So there's a little bit of meaning for them there because whoever plays that in that 7th spot is going to face the Eagles in week 1. Again, we hate to say it, but the Eagles have been very good lately. Nobody really wants to face them.
But DC does play them pretty well for the most part.
Yes, but
they lost.
Yeah, you're going to play them a third time. Yeah, like I said, if I was them, I would definitely care about that seeding. That's for sure. Commanders, I got to win this game though. I got them to cover, and I got the over.
Here we go. Lock in a trifecta for both of us. Best game of the
week. There we go. All right, we got the Bears. The
Bears
against the Packers here, don't you know? We got an NFC North matchup here. We got the team that basically gets destroyed by the Packers every single year. The Packers own the Bears point blank. I think the last time the Bears beat the Packers was before Brett Favre got there. It just seems like the Packers beat the crap out of the Bears every single year. So yeah, guys, 10-point spread. I don't care. 41 on the over under, way too low. So yeah, Packers to cover the spread, and I got the over on the points.
100%. Because once again, we just talked about this last game. It's about where you're going to get seated. Are you going to play? Do you want to play the Eagles or whoever makes it in the 3rd spot?
Yep. And we said before, if the Commanders lose and the Packers win, it just changes to 6-7 in the playoff seeding. So there's a little bit of hope and meaning for these guys in this game.
Yeah, because 7 seed means you play the Eagles, like you said, and they've been red hot.
Yep. Oh yeah. And let's be honest, the NFC West, the NFC South are not very good. You want to face one of those guys. You don't want the Eagles.
Yeah, you probably have Green Bay has a lot better shot of
you want the Rams,
the Rams.
Basically.
Yeah. All right. Up next, another meaningless game. You got the Colts playing. I'm sorry, you got the Jaguars going into Indianapolis playing the Colts. The Colts are giving up 4.5 points in this game, and the over/under is at 45 points. This is a lackluster meaningless game. The only thing that matters in this game is the Jaguars getting a better seed in the draft or keeping their spot in the draft, if you will, moving it up.
At this point,
and the Colts
they get a better draft pick too.
Yeah, they're both going to need a better draft pick, but they're not going to get up to the top spot there.
No,
two really terrible teams. I'm going to go with the home team just because you don't have to travel, and when you have to travel against a team and looking at last place in the NFL, you don't want to play as it is. So Colts in this game, Colts to cover in the under in a terrible game.
Listen, the Jaguars won last week against the vaulted Titans. And listen, when it boils down to it, here's what it boils down to. We beat the Colts. We destroyed the Colts. I can't trust them to win against a freaking Pop Warner team at this point. I'm going Jaguars. I'm going Jaguars to win. Jaguars to cover.
Crazy.
They're getting anyway the points at that point, and I'm going to go under on this because I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair overall.
Yeah, agreed.
It's time for the blue and red battle.
Oh yeah, it's your shot, man. Do you want me to go?
I forgot. I'm so jacked up at this Jaguar game. So
I can tell.
Blue and red battle with the Bills at the Patriots. So,
Bills.
Oh yes. Which weird. I never thought about that when Bill Belichick was the coach. He had the Bill versus the Bills. Oh, but yeah, Bills at the Patriots here. Let's be honest, guys. The only reason this game is even interesting at all is we don't know what's going to happen yet fully because the Bills have nothing to play for. The Patriots just want to lose because they want to keep that, that playoff seeding here.
The sweet number one spot.
I mean the draft seeding. I'm sorry. And I want the Patriots to win this so badly, but I just can't have any faith that's going to happen. So I'm going to go Bills, and over on the over/under of 38.5, and Bills getting 2.5, giving up 2.5 points. So that's not that much. But again, I am rooting so hard for the Patriots to win this game. It's not even funny because if we can manage to lose and the Patriots get knocked out and maybe one of the team we're a top two. So yeah, I'm like,
nice. Yeah. So I agree with you. There's no way the Bills lose this game. The only thing that they're really playing for is they're clinching at that number 2 spot in the AFC is Josh Allen's starting record. So he's probably going to come in, play a couple snaps, and then get out of that game. Granted, the Patriots also do not like the Buffalo Bills and would probably like to play a little harder. But it's not going to be much because the Bills are still going to get this spread, but it's going to be in the under because that high-power Bills offense is going to be resting up. So we shall see.
The Bills' backup quarterback. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's see here. Mitchell Trubisky. We're going to get the Trubisky.
The Trubisky show.
We're getting the Trubisky. All right.
Up next, you got our game. The Giants going into Philadelphia.
Boo!
Yeah, boo! Someone buy a plane. Fly it over there. It's going to be a lot of second string, third string starters in this game. Fourth string starters in this game. Pretty much. Eagles are only favored 2 points, which means Hurts is probably really not going to play this game at all.
How bad is that? They're resting their starters, and they're still the favorites.
Well,
it's public knowledge they're resting the starters.
Yeah, I guess technically we're resting our starters too because they're all injured.
I'm just saying, that's crazy. That's how bad we are. People rest their starters. We're still not even favored. Whoop, 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 whoop.
And it's also 37.5 points as the over-under. So they're really looking for a terrible game. Like, my God. And it to me, it doesn't matter because the Eagles are still going to win this game.
Let's go.
The Eagles are going to cover this game.
I feel wrong rooting for the Eagles.
And I took the over because I think it's going to be a little bit sloppy. It's going to be cold weather. The ball's going to get thrown around.
Sloppy, Joe.
Sloppy. They're going to miss the snow though because it's supposed to be. We're supposed to get a little snow tomorrow and a little snow on Monday. So hopefully these guys don't have to deal with it. Unless it snows, guys, I want to go with the over.
Yeah, I'm going Eagles under. I'm going the under because I'm anticipating the snow and I'm anticipating no one be able to score because the backups are in.
Yeah, fair enough.
We got the Saints at the Bucks here. We don't have to talk about this that much, do we? Really? I mean, 13.5-point spread, and the Bucks are giving up, and you got a 43.5-point over under. Again, the Bucks have to win this game to secure the division and secure their ride into the playoffs. That should be no problem whatsoever. The goddamn Saints lost to the Raiders. Okay, that just tells you everything you need to know right there. So yeah, we got Bucks, and I'm going over.
Yeah, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I don't. Granted, it is like a divisional game, but Bucks over. I agree with you 100% in this game. So let's just move on because no one really wants to talk about how bad this game's going to be.
We got the next one.
I was about to say, you got the Texans going in to play the Titans. The battles of the T's.
Psyched up, hawked up about you. God damn it!
Yeah.
I would have named a Dr. Quinn, a medicine woman. God damn it!
Yeah, you know the Texans are actually the favored by 1 point going into this game, with the over under at 38.5 points. That's because they don't know if who's going to start, because obviously they're going to
I don't think there's a doubt in my mind.
They are.
They already got the division. There's nothing to play for at this point on their end. They just want to stay healthy and not get more people hurt because they already got a lot of hurt people.
100%. So, I mean, this is a no-brainer. The Titans have been terrible all year, and Will Levis, is he starting? I don't know. It doesn't matter because I'm still taking Texans to win, Texans to cover in the under in a very lackluster game.
Again, we are hoping the Texans sit all their starters. We want the Titans to have every shot to win. I'm just saying, Will Levis, I want you to have a double scoop of mayo in your coffee. No. I take
the coffee, back. Just have the mayo.
I take that back. You put some goddamn Miracle Whip in that coffee. You get it going. I want some Miracle Whip in that coffee this week. Let's get it going. We need a miracle. Win. Fight. First off, Will Levis is not going to be starting at good. we just like bringing up the whole coffee thing. It is fun. But yeah, Mason Rudolph is going to be the starter.
I was going to say,
yeah,
when you bitch for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Which is why we need to go ahead and block these bastards from taking a quarterback. We need them to win. So let's go.
All right. You're up.
All righty. We got the 49ers. Oh, I forgot to give my pick in the whole thing. We matched anyway.
I think we know.
I didn't say it. Anyway, we got the 49ers at the Cardinals here, guys, in the game that, quite frankly, no one cares about. Talk about a pointless game with two teams that aren't going to get in the postseason. That's where we're at. Not cool. But yeah, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to figure out who plays for what. I mean, it's just like you're playing for your next contract, I guess. Is that what's going on in this game?
Pretty much, and it's a divisional game, so they're just going to try to beat each other up.
Yep. So I'm going to hedge my bets a little bit here because the Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites just because they're healthier. I'm going to put Cardinals to win, 49ers to cover, and I'm going to go over on the points.
Yeah, I took the Cardinals being that because they're more at home, but they are injured, and Kyle Murray has not been playing hero ball like he was doing earlier this year. He's back to Call of Duty. I guess he came out with a new DLC, whatever it is. So I'm taking the Niners to win this game. I'm obviously going to take them in the spread, and I'm going to go with the over. I think it's going to be lackluster of a defensive game. And, I mean, Brock Purdy is a little dinged up, but look at where they played this past week. All right, up next, in another game that's meaningful for one, but not so much the other team. You got the Chiefs going into the Mile High, playing the Broncos.
That's rad.
That's rad. There's a 10.5-point spread in this game for the Chiefs. My God.
It's for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are getting the points.
Yeah, they are the favorites in this game. Like, what?
No. The Broncos are the favorites. The Chiefs are literally being given 10.5 points in this game because that's how bad it's gotten.
Well, yeah, it's because they're tanking everyone. Well, not tanking, but they're sitting everyone because when you got 15 wins and you're locked in the first spot in the AFC.
No point. You don't want to get
everyone. Let's try to get third one in a row. Let's go here. Over-unders at 39.5 points. This is actually a very important game for the Broncos because they have to win to make the playoffs at the number 7 seed. If Denver loses, that opens the door for Miami or Cincinnati to get into the playoffs. And like we said, the Chiefs are resting their starters. So like this is kind of opens it up. But know what this also is? It's a divisional game. So I'm taking the Chiefs to spoil this for the Broncos. I'm going to take them in the spread. And I'm taking the over in this game.
Ooh. You know what? We're almost there.
Saucy.
We're almost there. I got the Broncos to win. Otherwise, I'm right there with you. 10.5 point spread. I'm going to say the defense is just good enough at that point to keep everything going. Even though we mostly, again, backups are benching their guys. When you have a really, really top tier defense, you know what that means? Your backups probably aren't too shabby.
Usually that's how that works.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with them doing just enough to keep it just close enough where they lose by maybe like a touchdown. So I got Broncos, Chiefs, and then an over on the points. Now, keep in mind, this is important for the Broncos as well, because the Broncos want to go ahead and win this game, because if they win, they're in as a 7th seed in the playoffs. If they lose...
It's like I just said that.
Yeah. Saying, like, this is important. This is important. Reiterating.
It's a very important game for the Broncos. But Chiefs are a bunch of a-holes, and they're way better.
Yes, they are. Now, no news yet if Taylor Swift will be there, in case those are wondering.
You also got Bo Nix,
want to know.
Rookie. Like, there's a lot of pressure on this young team.
Under pressure.
Coming down on me, coming down on you.
Chargers at the Raiders, guys. Chargers at the Raiders here. Listen, we got the Chargers, let's be honest, are a much better team than the Raiders. Chargers are going to be in the playoffs. Raiders are lucky to still be in the NFL at this point. So we got the Chargers to win this game. That's what I got, at least. I want to speak for you, but I can see your pick, so I know you have it too. So the Raiders have been given 5 points. To me, that's not nearly enough. So I'm still going to say Chargers to cover the spread. I'm going to go under on the points because the Chargers got that defense, control the ball, kind of thing. And then the Raiders got people dressed as pirates in the stands. So yeah, Chargers, and under.
There's also Darth Vader out there too. You can see him every once in a while. It's fantastic, man. Those guys are crazy. I agree with you 100%.
I give them credit. Like they dressed up like the Legion of Boom with the freaking with pirates stuff. It's crazy.
It's amazing. But yeah, Harbaugh is just such a good coach. Turn that team around. Chargers to win. Chargers in the cover. In the under. Antonio Pierce, yeah, guys like playing for him, but
the swan song.
Yeah, it's a swan song.
Probably gone.
Yep, 100%. Well, up next, you got the Seahawks playing the Rams in another divisional game.
I'm gonna ram them.
Yeah, Carl Ramrod. The Rams are favored 6.5 points in this game, and the over under is at 38 points. This is important for the Rams because if they win today, they still are. Sunday, they'll still have they'll clinch the number 3 spot in the playoffs.
Yes. But they've also already announced they're going to rest their
starters. I was going to say McVay already announced they're going to sit their starters, which means Seattle could go and take some of that spot from. So with Tampa Bay losing, get there, sneak in there, sneaky without Pete. Don't think it's going to happen. So I'm taking the Rams to win this game. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a close game because Stafford has not been putting up the points that he has been. He's not playing as elite as he was earlier. So I do think it's going to be a closer game. And I do think it's going to go in the over because 39 points to me, it's 38.5. But it's going to be each team putting up 20 points plus.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those games that
27-30.
Yeah, I do think that, but I tell you, I got the Seahawks to win this though. I think it's going to be on them making all these points because of the fact the Rams just don't care. The Rams are just trying to get out of Dodge without getting injuries. So I'm going to go ahead and say Seahawks to win, and obviously Seahawks will cover. They'll win by 10 points or so, and it's going to be the over definitely on that. So. Next up, we got the Dolphins. The Jets here, which might have their own airplane over the stadium at this point. You got the Dolphins are crazy enough only favored by 1.5 points, which just seems absolutely insane to me. 39 is the over-under, and this is the potential to have some meaning here, because if the Broncos lose, the Dolphins would make the playoffs with a win and a loss by those Broncos. So there's still hope for them. Not a lot necessarily, because the Broncos, we already know, are facing a team that's sitting on the starters, but there is some hope there. But let's be honest here, guys. They're going to do their part, no problem. It's the Jets. Aaron Rodgers already said he might be retiring after this. That's how bad it's gotten for him. So Dolphins.
Wait until March.
We got Dolphins to cover the 1.5 point spread, and 39 points is the over/under. I'm going under. I think the Jets will be that embarrassed their last game of the season here. We're really setting the stage for them to complete the season just how it started.
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. It's a must-win for the Fins. They're really good at beating up on bad teams. So that's what I think they're going to do. I think the Jets are going to put enough points up on the board to allow the Dolphins to win in the over because of the points wise. Like if you put up 33-10, we're good. We're in the over, which is probably what it's going to be like because they're a little better than the Browns.
Yeah.
So up next, the game of the week.
Oh,
an exciting game.
This season.
So much implications.
This is like a playoff game before the playoffs.
Yeah. This might be better than half the playoff games.
Seriously.
You got the Vikings going into Detroit. Detroit Rock City.
Get up.
Get down with the over-under. This game is 56.5 points, and the Vikings are home field advantage favorites with the 3 points.
Yeah, because of the home field.
Home field. This is on paper 50-50.
Yep.
Once again, this is for the first seed in the NFC.
This is for the first seed in the NFC. It's for the NFC North title. It's for home field advantage. Playoffs. Like this is so much riding.
It's a lot.
And funny.
You go from the number 1 spot in the playoffs to number 5. There's a big difference. So, that being said, Dan Campbell needs a wheelbarrow to hold his big old nutsack every time he walks around because all he does is go for it on 4th downs.
Oh, that kind of wheelbarrow. I thought you.
Yeah.
There's a little Karma Sutra talk there.
Oh no, maybe I don't know because that dude's packing with all those balls. But you also got Minnesota, who's revamped Sam Darnold. Like he's playing, like we said earlier, possible MVP candidate. Their defense is probably better than the Lions' defense, who's been a little banged up.
Yeah,
I don't think it matters. I think big balls win this game, and a very fun game. Lions win this. They're obviously going to get I took the Vikings in the cover because I do think it's a very close game, and I think it's going to be within obviously a field goal. Like I think it's going to come down to like the last 12 seconds, and someone's winning, and they are going to have to win by 2 points in order to win this. It's going to be like 28-30 in a fun game. Yeah. And I'm taking the over in this game, even though the scenario I just said actually just put it right on point to be over.
So, you know what? When the Lions lost this season, both of the losses they had this year were away games, or were home games. So they've lost before at home. They're not impenetrable at home. The Vikings have literally won 9 games in a row. 9. I'm not talking German here. They've won 9 games in a row. Du hast. So, yeah, they're the hot team right now. And
listen,
I just
Lions are still hot.
I hear you, and I'm not saying that otherwise. Like they're, but you're splitting hairs when you're trying to do this kind of game.
100%.
That's the hair I'm splitting here. Is the fact that one team has won 2 in a row, one team has won 9 in a row, and a home team, yeah, but they've already lost. Only 2 games they've lost at home. Still 6-2. I'm not trying to say they're a bad home team, but they're undefeated on the road. They actually have played better this season away. So I'm going to sit there and say that the Vikings are going to come in and upset the Lions, and they're going to win this game. They're going to win the division, the home field throughout, all the kit and caboodle here. And I got the under on the points. I think the Vikings defense is what's going to come in and do something in this game here. And it's going to be a tight-knit, close game. That's what they do. Like, if you look at the Vikings this year, They're not the blow you out and beat the crud out of you kind of team.
No.
The crazy thing is the Vikings have less points scored this year than the Packers and the Lions. They do. But they've also allowed less points. They have a little
They have a better defense.
So, yeah, this is going to be a situation where you got the Vikings just sneak in and out at that point there. And you got Vikings under, and I think it's a more defensive matchup that people are anticipating. All right.
Maybe.
Guys. That is our final game of the season. The regular
season.
Over. I can't believe it. Where did 2024 go?
Right out the window.
2003.
Right?
Draft Eli. But guys, that's it for today. And we're still 18 subscribers away, guys. If you haven't hit that subscription yet, hit that subscribe button.
What are you waiting for?
Again, we are always live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, everybody's favorite, my LinkedIn. Now, when we hit 1,000 subscribers, guys, and I might do this beforehand, so let's be honest, we're going to hit this the next day or two. Watch me jinx it now. But we're going to hit it soon. We did 18 more, and we've gotten freaking like 60 or almost in the last 2 days here. So we're also going to start going back onto Twitter. That means, guys, because we're going to take some of the money that YouTube's given us and invest it in Twitter, which is kind of messed up, but true. So we're going to start doing some stuff like that here to get you guys other options and ways to listen and watch us there. So appreciate you guys for watching as always. Keep in mind, we're also on all the audio podcast platforms as well. We're on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. Hit the like and subscribe there as well, please. Again, it really does help us out. Leave a review on Apple. That's a good place for that as well. As long as it's a positive. If it's a negative, don't leave it. We don't want that. No negativity zone here.
All positive here.
So, 2025. Exactly. So, again, guys, we'll see you guys on game day. Last game day for the next 8.5 months.
Yeah. Giants,
it'll be our last long recording basically until draft day. We do the full
round. Got us for another 5 hours.
Oh my god, those were like, just get me a Gatorade bottle underneath here, and we all know what the lemon lime Gatorade bottle is for. But we'll be doing play-by-play here, guys, at the game. So that will be on there. I'll be on there at least, I should say. And Rob always pops in for the post game there. He's got usually plans during the actual game itself there with the woman there. So listen, enjoy your beer, snuggle, and football. I'm not knocking it.
I also hang out with a 3.5-year-old.
Well, don't snuggle the 3.5-year-old. People will talk.
Yeah.
But we'll see you guys on Sunday. Like I said, I'll be there for the live play-by-play, and Rob and me will both be there for the post-game coverage. We're hopefully celebrating a loss, which just sounds so weird to say. We'll see you guys there on Sunday. Appreciate you guys again for watching, and again, appreciate everybody who has recently subscribed. As much as we also, of course, appreciate all y'all that have been around forever. Sorry we didn't get to all the comments here today, but we're about an hour 40 minutes in, and quite frankly, I got to be up in 7 hours for work, and I still have stuff to do, and I haven't got a chance to eat dinner yet.
Probably close to 6 hours. I know what you mean.
Been a crazy night, so yeah. Appreciate you guys again for listening, as always, and as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.